What is going on, viewers of YouTube? SunSpot here, and I am back giving you guys my review of the Netflix Voltron Legendary Defender Legendary Red Lion collectible figure. As per usual, I do want to highlight the packaging. Very generic, just like the other boxes. Do have some nice artwork there in the corner of Voltron with this really cool space background. Of course, it does say DreamWorks Voltron Legendary Defender in all of the Lion's colors. Clear, transparent cover where you'd see the figure inside with all of his accessories, which are the fire, magma beam, whatever the hell that is. Really nice image here of the Red Lion, the Netflix logo, warning labels, and of course the little insignia thing here shows you where the Red Lion goes. But if you are a true fan, you know that, of course, he is the right arm of the Megazord. Sides of the box are both the same, just clear, and the bottom just shows the other figures in the wave. I only really have to review the Black Lion, and I can finally form Voltron, so I am super excited to do that and put that on my channel for all you guys. Back of the box shows the figure and all of his accessories, and instead here's the insignia again, only it is colored, and there he is, the right arm. Very cool, and it obviously shows that he comes with the other half of the sword for Voltron. I don't know why they split it into two parts, don't ask me, but if you are curious, here is the bio of the character, so you can pause and read that if you want. As for the figure himself, this guy is actually pretty cool. Not my favorite of the lions, simply because, I don't know, I've never really been a big fan of the arms. I always liked the legs for some reason, maybe because they're bulkier, and of course the Black Lion was definitely my definite favorite growing up as a kid, but still, this is a neat figure. I want to give you guys a quick 360 here. I'm going to touch on the head sculpt in just a minute because there's something really, really funny going on with that, and it has to do with the Lion King. And if you already own this figure, then you know what I'm talking about, because, come on, I mean, that looks exactly like the hyenas from Lion King. Like, especially when you do this. That's... oh, Voltron. Taking a closer look here, you could clearly see the resemblance. Now, don't get me wrong, this is TV show accurate. I've watched the first season. It's okay. I haven't started the second season as of yet, but I can tell that, and the same goes with all these figures, that the sculpts are spot on. Just show you guys the sides a bit. This is the Red Lion. It looks exactly like him, but it also looks like the hyenas from Lion King, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. Comment if you feel the same, but whenever I look at this, I just think of Lion King. Regardless, it's a good sculpt. I do like it. I do have several gripes with it. And it's actually not the sculpt itself, it's the paint. The paint was really sloppy, at least on mine. You can tell around the white parts on the jaw, and actually a little bit on his eyebrow right there. There is just too much paint squirting and leakage. It's kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. It's, for some reason, my Red Lion just came out that way. Yours could be different. So far my other ones have been okay, but just looking at it, they use a solid red paint here. Some glossy silver, and a standard snow white, which is pretty good. They use that gray plastic for the hinge for the jaw right here, which is, you know, it's spot on. So overall, the head sculpt is pretty good. He does have good articulation. You can see there's the ladder inside of where I guess the pilots don't go inside the mouth anymore. They go in the bottom here. But there's a ladder in there for whatever reason. And his teeth are painted white. So, and also, if you look in there, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a cannon in there, which is pretty cool. Wish they painted that a little bit more, but, you know, it's not too big of a deal. That's just getting into real tiny gripes with the figure. So, spot on sculpt. And same goes for the rest of the figure. You can tell that they used a pretty standard glossy red. I do like the red. It's not too bright, it's not too dark. I felt like I believe it was the Green Lion that I had the most trouble with. I felt like the green was just, I think from what I remember, it was too bright. I forgot what I said in that review, but here the paint is spot on. For the legs, for the most part, they use that standard gray plastic. They put a little bit of red paint down here, which is actually darker than the paint up here, because I think this is just red plastic, and this is actually paint on top of the gray. So there you go with that. If they made it a little glossier, would match, but from a distance you can't even see it. The little claws here are rubbery and gray, of course. So this entire foot is kind of squishy in a way. Looking here, nice glossy black, which works really well. And not too much detail, a few indentations here. Obviously there's a hole on top here for where you would put the flame cannon or whatever he has for this figure. The neck has several creases in there with the standard gray plastic. The hinge is gray, obviously, and more of that red. They use a little bit yellow here at the base of the tail. While the tail is a very pliable material, I said this in the other reviews, but I wish they put a wire in here so you can bend it, because, you know. Well, light blue here they use for the tail like the others, more gray and more red. And the back of the legs, again, they used a different color paint for the red on the feet than they do on the rest of the figure. Nice silver glossy here, some more light blue to give that, you know, that flying effect, because I believe the boosters come out of his knee here, if I remember from the show, because these guys can fly. So I do forget. The little hinge here, which you take out for when you form him, is just, you know, nothing to it, that's just where it is. You do need a nail to pull that out, so just heads up. And of course is where you would open it to see the pilot and stuff, but I'll get into that in a bit. So the skull, you know, for Playmates, it's decent. You're paying, what is it, like 20 bucks or 17 bucks for this figure, and you do get, I think you get your money's worth. It's whatever. I do wish they put a little bit more detail, but again, it's Playmates, so I'm really not going to complain too much in this review anymore. As for articulation, very, very limited, but it really doesn't bother me because I'm going to keep these guys in Megazord form regardless. The head can rotate 360, the mouth can just open about that much. It's pretty good, but it snaps closed, so you can't really keep it like this, which kind of sucks. The arms can go forward about that much. You don't want to go 360 because of all these parts here, and then go back that much. He does have an articulation right here, and at the feet, no ankle pivot though. That sucks. Of course, he does have the rotation right here for the, you know, the elbow, and this can rotate the full 360. Legs can go basically all the way around, and one here at the knee, another here above the knee, and one at the foot. Again, no ankle pivot. The tail, all it can do is sink in and out. That's it. Unfortunately, you can't really articulate this that much, so that's probably the biggest problem with these figures, the lack of articulation. But like I said, I'm keeping these guys in Megazord form, so it doesn't really bother me too much. As for size, if I'm not mistaken, these guys are about 10 inches long, which is actually pretty good for what you're paying. If you don't believe me, trusty tape measure. And his tail, you can actually extend the tail out a bit more, but it basically ends at 10 inches. And for height, he is just under 5 inches. So he is a decent height. He's definitely in proportion with the other Voltron figures, which is nice. So there you go. And here is the Red Lion, right next to something you probably own, which is the 6-inch Red Ranger from the Legacy Collection. This is about 6 inches tall, so just want to give you guys kind of a comparison if you're curious. And yeah, I did this in the last video, in my last Voltron video. This you know, shit. Yeah! Here he is next to a standard Titans Return Deluxe class figure. Pretty good scaling, I would say. Again, these two have nothing to do with each other, but again, if you are curious, they are about the same height. He's just a bit shorter, just because, you know, the tail. So, there you go. And if you are curious, here's the Red Lion next to a standard 3 3/4 inch figure, and yes, Laura Kinney is looking completely and utterly puny next to the Red Lion, and I'm sorry, I'm sorry. The only reason I'm giving you these stupid comparisons is so I can do this. And here he is next to my alpaca. As for accessories, this guy is pretty bare, but I'll show you what he does come with. Of course, he does come with the other half of Voltron's sword, so you could finally complete that if you have the Green Lion, which is pretty cool. They use a nice transparent, kind of a light blue and ocean color, which is pretty good. It does scratch easily, as you could tell. I was combining it with the other half, obviously, so it scratches pretty easily. But then again, hey, you know, when are you ever going to separate these unless you're doing a review? Down here, a nice glossy black and a standard yellow, and it's a very, very flimsy plastic, so I do recommend exercising caution with this because, honestly, feeling it now, it can just break in half. Then, apparently, he comes with a fire magma beam. I don't like how this looks on him. I've said this in the other videos. Not too big of a fan of these. You could tell, standard grade plastic, red, light blue, the glossy silver, you get all that, but it just looks weird. Now, yes, it's, you know, it's whatever, it's just, they had to add something, but still, it's whatever. It does come with this beam, this fire beam, which is blue for whatever reason. I'd expect it to be, you know, red, but there you go, and you just press this top button, and there you go, fell on the floor. But if you are curious, it does go on top of him, so you just plug it in right there, kind of twist it, and there he is. Again, it kind of looks odd. Once he's in Voltron mode, and you put this on, it really doesn't look as weird, because, you know, he's going to be holding this sword, so, yeah, oh, whoops, yeah. So, it really doesn't look that weird when he's in Voltron mode, but as, you know, a standard, just separate lion, it looks a little bit awkward. So, overall, this is a decent figure. If you're looking to build Voltron, you obviously need this guy for not only the sword, but of course the right arm of your Megazord. So, yes, he doesn't have too many accessories, he's really lacking on the articulation, but how often do we get retail awesome giant Voltron figures that actually combine and not those BS figures that Playmates releases that can't combine? And with that said, people, if you did enjoy this video, please like, subscribe, comment, check out my site at SunSpotReviewz.com, and I will see you guys in my next video.